She was just a maid mopping floors when she found him, a powerful man bleeding out in an empty office tower. One choice to save his life pulled her into a dangerous world. Now the people hunting him are hunting her too, and the only way out is straight through the fire. Marina's sneakers squeaked against the polished marble as she pushed her cleaning cart past the 60 rows of empty desks. 11:47 p.m. The Goldman and Sterling building was a tomb at this hour. Just her, the hum of ventilation systems, and the distant glow of New York City bleeding through floor-to-ceiling windows. She hummed while she worked, earbuds in, a habit from her first week when the silence made her skin crawl. Her mother used to say idle hands invited trouble, so Marina kept moving. Spray, wipe, move. Spray, wipe, move. The rhythm steadied her, kept the exhaustion at bay. 2 more hours and she could catch the 2 a.m. train back to Queens, sleep 4 hours, then wake for her morning shift at the diner. That's when she saw him. A man sat slumped against the western window, his back to the glass, head tilted at an unnatural angle.
Marina froze.
Her first thought, drunk executive. Her second thought, as she stepped closer and the light caught the dark pool spreading beneath him. Blood. Jesus. She yanked out her earbuds. The man's shirt, once white and expensive, was soaked crimson from shoulder to waist. His breathing came in shallow, rattling gasps. Marina's nursing student instincts kicked in before fear could stop her. She dropped to her knees beside him, fingers already reaching for his neck to check his pulse. His hand shot out and grabbed her wrist.
Marina screamed.
The man's eyes snapped open, ice blue, burning with fever and fury. In his other hand, a black pistol rose to point directly at her face. The barrel looked enormous, like staring into a tunnel with no end. "Don't," he rasped. His accent was slight, buried under years of American English, but present. East Coast. Maybe Boston. "Don't scream again." Marina's heart hammered so hard she thought it might crack her ribs. But her mother's voice echoed in her head. "When someone's bleeding, you don't run. You work." Her mom had been a field medic in the army before the cancer took her. She taught Marina everything: how to pack wounds, how to stay calm when everyone else panicked. "You're going to bleed out," Marina said, surprised her voice didn't shake. "In maybe 15 minutes. That's not a threat. That's biology." The man's gun hand wavered. His eyes struggled to focus on her face.
Who
are you? "I clean this floor. Now, let me see the wound." "No hospitals," his words slurred together. "They'll finish what they started." "I'm not taking you anywhere." Marina slowly, carefully, reached for her cleaning cart. The man's gun tracked her movement, but his hand was shaking badly now. She pulled out her personal bag, the one she never left home without. Inside, gauze, medical tape, antiseptic wipes, a suture kit she'd borrowed from her university's nursing lab. Poor girl's insurance policy. She looked at him again. Really looked. Mid-30s, maybe. Dark hair plastered to his forehead with sweat. Expensive suit ruined. A face that would have been handsome if it wasn't chalk white with blood loss. And something else, a hardness in those eyes that said this man had seen worse than a bullet wound. "I need to cut your shirt," Marina said. "Do it." The gun lowered an inch. Then another. Finally, it clattered to the floor beside him. Marina worked fast. She tore open his shirt, buttons scattering across marble, and found the entry wound high on his left shoulder.
No exit wound.
The bullet was still inside, but it had missed the subclavian artery.
Lucky.
The blood flow was venous, not arterial. She could work with this. "What's your name?" she asked, packing the wound with gauze. "Does it matter?"
"I'm Marina."
And yeah, it matters. "I need you conscious." He winced as she applied pressure. "Alexei." "Okay, Alexei. You're going to tell me what happened while I stop you from dying."
"Keep talking."
"Stay awake." Rooftop. Negotiation went wrong. Each word cost him. "My partner.
Victor."
He sold me out. Took money from the Italians. Shot me and ran. Marina's hands never stopped moving. She cracked open antiseptic wipes, cleaned the wound edges. The smell of alcohol mixed with copper. You need a hospital. This needs surgery.
No hospitals.
They watched them. Every emergency room in Manhattan. They have people there. Who's they? Alexei's laugh was bitter and wet. Everyone who wants me dead. That's when the elevator chimed. Both of them froze. Marina's head snapped toward the sound. 60 floors up, past midnight. Nobody should be coming up. The digital display above the elevator showed it rising. 45. 48. 51. They found me, Alexei whispered. His hand fumbled for the gun. Marina's mind raced. The elevator was still climbing. Maybe 30 seconds before it arrived. The executive floor had cameras everywhere except the maintenance corridors. She'd cleaned them 100 times. Can you stand? She asked. I don't know. That wasn't really a question. Marina hooked her arm under his good shoulder and hauled. Alexei groaned but pushed himself up with his legs. He was heavy, over 6 feet of muscle and expensive clothing, but adrenaline made Marina stronger than she'd ever been. They stumbled toward the maintenance door on the eastern wall. The elevator chimed again. 58. 59. Marina grabbed her medical bag and Alexei's gun. She didn't know why she took the gun, just that leaving it seemed wrong, and shoved through the maintenance door. It closed behind them with a soft click just as the elevator dinged its arrival. The corridor was narrow, lit by flickering fluorescent tubes. It smelled like cleaning chemicals and dust. Alexei collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. Marina pressed her ear to the door. Footsteps. Multiple sets. Moving with purpose across the marble floor. Mr. Volkov, a voice called out. Smooth, professional. We know you're here. The blood trail is unfortunate. Come out, and we can end this cleanly. Marina looked down. Alexei's blood had left drops all the way from the window to the maintenance door. A perfect trail. Alexei met her eyes. In them, she saw resignation. Go, he mouthed. While you can. Marina thought about her mother. About the soldiers her mom had saved in field hospitals in Iraq. About how her mom had always said the only thing that mattered was whether you helped when someone needed you. She thought about the .38 revolver now tucked in her waistband, cold against her skin. Then Marina Chin did something either very brave or very stupid. She stayed. Marina pressed her palm against Alexei's mouth as footsteps approached the maintenance door. His fevered breath burned her skin, but he understood. He went silent, his ice-blue eyes locked on hers. The door handle rattled. Locked from the inside, someone said. Could be automatic. Check the cameras, another voice ordered. Marina's heart nearly stopped. The cameras. She'd forgotten about the cameras in the main floor. They'd see everything. Her face, her cleaning cart, her kneeling beside Alexei. She was already on video, helping a man these people wanted dead. The footsteps retreated. She had maybe 2 minutes before they accessed the security feed and came back with bolt cutters. We need to move deeper, Marina whispered, pulling Alexei down the corridor. He stumbled, his weight shifting dangerously against her, but he kept his feet. They passed storage closets and electrical panels until they reached a junction where the corridor split into 2 paths. She chose left, away from the elevators, toward the building's northeast corner, where the old HVAC system hummed behind locked doors. Alexei's knees buckled. Marina caught him, lowered him against the concrete wall beside a maintenance panel marked Authorized Personnel Only. The fluorescent light above them buzzed and flickered, casting shadows that made his face look almost skeletal. Stay with me, Marina ordered, ripping open her medical bag. The gauze she'd packed earlier was already soaked through. Blood seeped between his fingers where he pressed against the wound. She needed to properly clean and seal this, or infection would kill him even if the bullet didn't. She grabbed alcohol pads, the industrial-strength ones the hospital gave nursing students, and tore open 3 packages at once. This is going to hurt, she warned. Everything hurts. Marina peeled away the soaked gauze. The wound was angry and raw, edges ragged where the bullet had torn through muscle. She could see the entry clearly now, The slug had entered just below his left clavicle, probably lodged near his shoulder blade. No arterial spray meant he'd live through the night, but only if she could prevent sepsis. She pressed the alcohol pad directly into the wound. Alexei's entire body went rigid. His jaw clenched so hard she heard his teeth grind, but he didn't scream. The veins in his neck stood out like cables. Sweat poured down his face. "Breathe," Marina said, working quickly. She swabbed the wound cavity, cleaning out dirt and fabric fibers the bullet had dragged inside. Her hands were steady, steadier than they'd been during any practice session at the university lab. "Breathe through it. Easy for you to say," Alexei gasped. "I didn't get shot by my business partner." Marina reached for fresh gauze, began packing the wound properly this time, creating layers that would absorb blood while maintaining pressure. "Why did Victor do it?" Alexei's eyes drifted shut. "Hey." Marina snapped her fingers in front of his face. "Stay awake. Tell me about Victor." His eyes opened slowly.
Victor Reyes.
"My second in command for 8 years. We grew up together in Brooklyn. I trusted him with everything. My business, my territory, my life." His voice was bitter. "The Italians offered him $3 million and a seat at their table. Tonight was supposed to be a peace negotiation on the roof. Instead, Victor put a bullet in me and walked away while they watched." Marina absorbed this while she worked. Business. Territory. The Italians. This wasn't corporate espionage or a mugging gone wrong. Alexei Volkov was exactly what he seemed, a criminal. Probably a dangerous one. She should have been terrified. Should have run the moment she had the chance. But her mother's voice wouldn't let her. "You don't get to choose who needs saving." "Why no hospitals?" Marina asked, applying medical tape to secure the fresh gauze. "Even if these people watch the ERs, you could go in through a private entrance, use a fake name." "Because every hospital in this city has someone on payroll," Alexei said. His breathing was evening out slightly now that the wound was properly dressed. "My family, the Italians, the Irish, the Russians, we all have nurses, orderlies, administrators who report admissions. Gunshot wounds especially. The moment I show up, 5 different organizations know within the hour." "That's insane." "That's survival." Alexei managed a weak smile. "Welcome to my world." Marina, the cleaning lady, nursing student, she corrected automatically. "I clean to pay for school." Something shifted in his expression. Respect, maybe, or recognition. "Your mother taught you this?" "The field medicine?" "Before she died." "Army medic." 2 tours in Iraq. Marina finished taping, sat back to examine her work. The bleeding had slowed dramatically. Not perfect, but enough to buy time. She always said knowing how to save a life was the only skill worth having. Smart woman. She was. A loud bang echoed from somewhere behind them. Metal on metal. The maintenance door being forced open. Alexei's hand moved toward the gun Marina had taken, but she was already pulling it from her waistband and handing it to him. "Can you walk?" she asked. "Do I have a choice?" "Not unless you want to die in a maintenance corridor." Marina helped him stand, slinging his good arm over her shoulders. He was heavier than before, his strength fading with every minute. "There's an emergency stairwell at the end of this corridor. Takes us down to 57. They'll expect that. You have a better idea?" Alexei shook his head. Voices echoed closer now, accompanied by the beam of flashlights sweeping the corridor behind them. Marina and Alexei moved into the darkness, leaving small drops of blood in their wake like breadcrumbs in a nightmare fairy tale. The emergency stairwell door groaned as Marina shouldered it open. The sound echoed up and down the concrete shaft like a gunshot. She froze, listening for pursuit, but heard only Alexei's labored breathing and the hum of building systems somewhere far below. "Elevators will be faster," Alexei muttered, his weight sagging against her. "Elevators have cameras, and they can be stopped remotely." Marina guided him toward the descending stairs. "We take the stairs. We control our own movement." "You've done this before?" "I watch a lot of true crime podcasts." Despite everything, Alexei laughed, a sharp, pained sound that ended in a wince. "God help me, I'm trusting my life to a college kid who listens to murder podcasts." Nursing student, Marina corrected again. And you're the one who got shot by your best friend, so maybe your judgment isn't perfect either. They started down. Each step was agony written across Alexei's face, though he tried to hide it. His left arm hung useless, the shoulder wound seeping fresh blood through Marina's careful bandaging. She'd bought him time, maybe an hour or two, but he needed real medical attention, surgery to remove the bullet, antibiotics, fluids. At the landing between 60 and 59, Alexei stopped. His free hand gripped the railing, so hard his knuckles went white. I need a minute, he said. We don't have a minute. Marina. His voice carried an edge now, the authority of someone used to giving orders. I need a minute. She relented, watching him carefully. His color was better than before, less corpse gray, more living human, but sweat still poured down his temples. Shock, blood loss, and adrenaline were a dangerous combination. The hospitals, Marina said, breaking the silence. All of them? Really? Alexei nodded, his breathing gradually slowing. Manhattan has 12 major ERs. My organization has people in 9. The Italians cover 10. There's overlap, obviously, but the point stands, nowhere is safe, he met her eyes. After tonight, after Victor's betrayal, I don't even know who in my own organization I can trust. For all I know, my driver's been bought. My doctor. My lawyer. What about somewhere outside the city? New Jersey? Connecticut? Same problem, wider net. These families have been here for generations. We know every urgent care, every private clinic, every surgeon who'll take cash and not ask questions. He pushed off from the railing, straightened with visible effort. The only thing keeping me alive right now is that they think I'm bleeding out on the 62nd floor. Once they figure out I'm mobile, they'll lock down every exit. Marina's stomach dropped. Every exit. You thought this was just about me? Alexei's expression was grim. You're on camera helping me. They'll identify you, track you, and use you to find me. Or worse, he stopped himself. Worse what? They'll assume you know things. About my business. My operations. They'll grab you and make you talk, even if you have nothing to say. The words hung in the stairwell like poison gas. Marina felt ice water flood her veins. She'd thought this ended when Alexei was safe. She'd thought she could disappear back into her normal life. Classes, cleaning shifts, student loan debt. The mundane problems of a 23-year-old trying to build a future. I should have run, she whispered. Yes, Alexei said simply. You should have. But you didn't. So now we both survive, or we both die. Marina started moving again, faster this time, half dragging Alexei down the stairs. The 57th floor door appeared on their left. She pushed through into another darkened office level, this one belonging to a law firm, judging by the frosted glass doors and expensive artwork. Wait here, Marina said, guiding Alexei to sit behind a reception desk. I need to scout ahead. Not alone. You can barely walk. I'll be 2 minutes. She pulled out her phone, turned on the flashlight app, and moved before he could argue. The 57th floor was a mirror of the 60th, same layout, same windows, same oppressive emptiness at night. Marina crept toward the elevators, staying low. She pressed her ear against the metal doors. Nothing. No mechanical sounds, no movement. She checked the elevator display panel. Both cars were stationary, one on the ground floor, one on 60. That meant the men hunting them were either still searching 60 or taking the stairs down. Marina moved to the windows and looked out across the city. From here, she could see the glittering grid of Manhattan stretching toward the East River. Somewhere down there were hospitals, police stations, places where normal people went for help. But she wasn't normal anymore. Not after tonight. Her phone buzzed. A text from her roommate. Where are you? You okay? Marina stared at the message. What could she possibly say? Sorry, can't talk. Helping a Mafia boss escape assassins. Home by breakfast. She typed back. Working late. Phone dying. See you tomorrow. When she returned to the reception desk, Alexei had the gun out, pointed at the stairwell door. It's me, Marina said quickly. He lowered the weapon. Find anything? Elevators are clear for now. But we can't stay here, she helped him stand again. There's got to be somewhere in this city you can hide. Somewhere they won't think to look. Alexei was quiet for a long moment. Then his eyes focused on something past Marina's shoulder, the law firm's frosted glass doors with their gold lettering. Maybe there is, he said slowly. The building has a VIP wellness center. 55th floor. For executives who work 100-hour weeks. A gym, a spa, and a private medical suite for executive physicals. Alexei's lips curved into something almost like a smile. Complete with locked medicine cabinets and no security cameras. Attorney-client privilege extends to medical privacy. Marina felt hope spark in her chest. Can you make it 2 more floors? Watch me. The 55th floor was silent as a crypt. Marina pressed her ear against the stairwell door, listening for any sound of movement, then eased it open an inch. The hallway beyond was carpeted in plush gray, lit by emergency exit signs that cast everything in a ghostly red glow. Clear, she whispered. Alexei pushed off the wall and stumbled through the door. His face had gone gray again, the brief surge of energy from 3 floors ago completely spent. Marina caught him before he fell, his weight nearly dragging them both down. Almost there, she said, though she had no idea if that was true. They moved down the hallway past darkened conference rooms and executive offices until they found it, a set of double doors with frosted glass panels etched with the words, Executive Wellness Center. A keypad glowed beside the entrance, demanding a 6-digit code. Damn it, Marina breathed. Can you pick it? Alexei asked. Pick a keypad? What do I look like, a hacker? You looked like a cleaning lady an hour ago. Now you look like a field surgeon. Forgive me for having faith. Despite everything, Marina almost smiled. She examined the keypad, running through options. Most buildings use default codes for service contractors. She'd learned that during her first week cleaning when she'd gotten locked out of a supply closet. Usually something simple that maintenance workers could remember. She tried 1-2-3-4-5-6. Red light. Access denied. How many attempts before it locks? Alexei asked. No idea. Usually 3-inch. Marina chewed her lip, thinking. Executive Wellness Center. Something the building managers would remember, but employees wouldn't guess. She looked at the company directory beside the elevator. Goldman and Sterling, established 1955. She typed 1-9-5-5-0-1. Green light. The lock clicked open. January 1955, Marina said, pulling the door open. Company founding date. Maintenance probably uses it for everything. Remind me to hire you after this, Alexei muttered. The wellness center was exactly what Marina expected from a building where junior partners billed $800 an hour, obscenely expensive and completely underused. Treadmills and ellipticals lined one wall, facing floor-to-ceiling windows. A yoga studio occupied the far corner. Towels were folded into perfect pyramids on a shelf that probably cost more than Marina's car. But what mattered was the door at the back marked Medical Suite. Marina half-carried Alexei across the gym. The medical suite door was unlocked. No keypad this time, just a simple handle. Inside was a room that looked like a luxury doctor's office. Examination table with fresh paper, blood pressure cuff mounted on the wall, a locked cabinet with a glass front displaying neat rows of medical supplies.
Jackpot. Marina breathed.
She lowered Alexei onto the examination table. He laid back with a groan, his blood-soaked shirt leaving dark stains on the paper. Marina turned to the cabinet, tested the handle. Locked, but it was just a standard medical cabinet lock, probably keyed the same as 100,000 others across the country. She grabbed a letter opener from the desk and wedged it into the lock mechanism, wiggling until something clicked. The cabinet swung open. Inside was everything she needed: fresh gauze, surgical tape, antiseptic solution, and, she nearly cried with relief, a box of single-use antibiotic injections and 4 antibiotics. Cephalexin. Not ideal for a gunshot wound, but infinitely better than nothing. You're surprisingly good at breaking and entering, Alexei observed from the table. I'm a nursing student who works 3 jobs. You learned to improvise. Marina grabbed supplies, laid them out on the counter with the efficiency of someone who'd done this 1,000 times in simulation. Shirt off. All the way this time. Alexei struggled to sit up, and Marina had to help him peel away the ruined fabric. Underneath, his torso was a roadmap of old scars, knife wounds, what looked like a bullet graze across his ribs, a burn mark on his right side. This wasn't his first time being hurt. This was just the first time he might die from it. Marina cut away her earlier bandaging. The wound looked worse now, inflamed, seeping. She cleaned it thoroughly with antiseptic, packed it with fresh gauze soaked in antibiotic solution, then sealed everything with proper surgical tape and a transparent dressing that would let her monitor for infection. The bullet's still in there, she said. This is just buying time. You need a real surgeon. I know. Alexei's eyes were closed, his breathing steadier now. But time is all I need. Tomorrow I can reach someone. A doctor who owes me favors. Marina prepared the antibiotic injection, tapped the syringe to release air bubbles. This might sting. Everything stings. She injected the medication into his right shoulder, the good one, then stepped back to examine her work. It wasn't perfect. Nothing about this nightmare was perfect, but it was enough. Alexei Volkov would live through the night. Why are you doing this? Alexei asked suddenly. His ice-blue eyes were open now, fixed on her face. Really? You could have run. Should have run. But you stayed, and now you're risking everything to save a man you don't know. A criminal. He said the last word flatly, without shame or excuse. So why? Marina was quiet for a moment, thinking about her mother. About the letter she'd written before she died, the one Marina kept folded in her wallet. Help people, baby girl. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because someone helped me once, too, Marina said finally. When my mom got sick, we had nothing. No insurance, no savings. A nurse at the hospital. She wasn't even my mom's nurse, just someone who saw us struggling. She paid for 3 months of medication out of her own pocket. We never knew her name. She just helped, then disappeared. Marina met Alexei's eyes. My mom lived 6 more months because of her. 6 months where we got to say everything we needed to say. 6 months of goodbyes. Her voice cracked slightly. So yeah, when I see someone bleeding out, I help. That's what you do. Alexei stared at her for a long moment. Something shifted in his expression, recognition maybe, or regret. I'm sorry, he said quietly. For what? For getting you killed. Marina's blood turned to ice. What do you mean, getting me killed? Before Alexei could answer, a low hum filled the room. The overhead lights flickered once, twice, then blazed to full brightness. Marina's eyes watered from the sudden glare. Security system, Alexei said, pushing himself upright despite the pain. It's on a timer. Automatically re-engages at 2 a.m. Marina checked her phone.
2:03 a.m.
Which means... cameras. Everywhere, Alexei swung his legs off the examination table, moving faster now despite his injury. We need to see what they see. The wellness center had a small office tucked behind the yoga studio, probably for personal trainers or wellness coordinators. Marina found it quickly, Alexei limping behind her. Inside was a desktop computer, powered down but connected to the building's network. She jabbed the power button. The computer booted with agonizing slowness, displaying the Goldman and Sterling logo while it loaded. Come on, Marina muttered. Finally, the login screen appeared. She tried the same date combination from the keypad, 1-9-5-5-0-1. Access denied. Try admin username and password, Alexei said. Marina shot him a look. Seriously? Corporate security is worse than you think. She tried it. The computer unlocked. I hate everything about this, Marina said, but she was already navigating to the building's security software. The interface was clunky, clearly designed for actual security personnel, but she found what she needed, a live feed grid showing dozens of camera angles throughout the building. Her stomach dropped. Lobby camera. 4 men in dark suits standing near the security desk. One was on a phone. Another had a tablet, reviewing footage. 60th floor camera. 2 men methodically checking offices, opening doors, looking behind desks. 59th floor camera. The stairwell door she and Alexei had used, standing open. A man examining the ground, looking at blood drops. They're tracking us floor by floor, Marina whispered. Alexei leaned over her shoulder, studying the screens. His jaw tightened. The one with the tablet. That's Dmitry Kozlov, Victor's cousin. He's running the cleanup. Cleanup? Making me disappear. And anyone who helped me. Alexei pointed at another screen, the 57th floor, where 2 more men were checking offices. They'll work their way down. Buildings on lockdown mode after hours. All external doors sealed except the main lobby. They have time. Marina switched camera views frantically, looking for an escape route. Loading dock. 2 men stationed there. Service entrance. 1 man smoking a cigarette, hand inside his jacket where a gun probably waited. Even the parking garage had coverage. We're trapped, she said. Not yet. Alexei studied the lobby feed more carefully. They haven't covered the parking garage elevator.
See?
They're watching the vehicle entrance, but not the elevator itself. Marina zoomed in on the parking garage camera. He was right. The men were positioned to see cars entering or exiting, but the elevator bank was in a blind spot, tucked around a corner near the maintenance bay. Even if we reach the garage, then what? Marina asked. We don't have a car. We take one. You mean steal one? I mean borrow one urgently. Alexei's hand moved to his shoulder, checking Marina's bandaging. Blood had seeped through, but not soaked completely. Her work was holding. I can hotwire most vehicles. Another skill from my misspent youth in Brooklyn. Marina wanted to argue, to find another way, but the camera feeds told the story. Men on 60. Men on 59. Soon they'd reach 57, then 56, working methodically downward like a net closing. She switched to the 55th floor camera, the hallway outside the wellness center. Empty. For now. We move now or never, Alexei said. Marina's hands shook as she logged out of the security system, wiped down the keyboard with her sleeve. Stupid probably, they had her on camera already, but instinct demanded it anyway. They left the office, crossed the gym quickly. Marina grabbed a dark towel from the pyramid stack and draped it over Alexei's shoulder, covering the worst of the blood. From a distance, he might pass for an executive who'd worked out too hard. The hallway was still empty when they emerged. Marina led them toward the service elevator, the one cleaning crews used, separate from the main executive banks. It was slower, older, but it went directly to the parking garage without stopping. She pressed the call button. The elevator groaned somewhere below, beginning its ascent. 45th floor. 48th. 50th. Come on, Marina breathed. 52nd. 53rd. A door opened somewhere down the hallway, the main stairwell. Voices echoed. Men talking in clipped, professional tones. 54th.
Marina, Alexei warned.
She saw them, 2 men emerging from the stairwell, 50 feet away. One carried a tablet. The other had his hand inside his jacket. 55th floor. The elevator chimed. The men's heads snapped toward the sound. Marina and Alexei were already moving. They lunged through the opening elevator doors just as one of the men shouted. There. Marina slammed the garage button repeatedly. The doors began to close with maddening slowness. Through the narrowing gap, she saw both men running toward them, one pulling a gun from his jacket. The doors sealed shut. The elevator dropped. Marina sagged against the wall, her heart trying to punch through her ribs. Alexei stood perfectly still, one hand braced against the elevator wall, the other checking his gun. They'll radio ahead, he said calmly. The men in the garage will know we're coming. I know. This is going to get messy. Marina looked at him. This man she'd saved, this criminal who'd dragged her into a war she didn't understand. She thought about running, about surrendering. about explaining to the police that this was all a terrible mistake. But she'd seen enough crime documentaries to know how this ended. Those men upstairs weren't cops. They weren't taking prisoners. Then we'd better be ready, Marina said. The elevator continued its descent into darkness. The elevator shuddered as it descended, the ancient mechanism groaning with each floor. Marina watched the numbers tick down: 40, 35, 30. Each digit brought them closer to armed men who knew they were coming. When the doors opened, Alexei said, checking his pistol's magazine, "Stay behind me." "You can barely stand." "I can shoot just fine." He slid the magazine back with a metallic click. "These men won't hesitate because you're a woman or a civilian. They'll put bullets in both of us and sleep perfectly well tonight." Marina's cleaning cart was still up on 60, but her supply bag hung across her shoulder. Inside were bottles of industrial cleaning chemicals, ammonia solution, bleach, degreaser. An idea sparked. "I need your jacket," she said. Alexei frowned. "What?" "Your suit jacket."
Now.
He shrugged out of it with a wince, handed it over. Marina quickly tore strips from the expensive fabric, stuffing them into an empty water bottle from her bag. She poured in ammonia solution, then added industrial degreaser and a cap full of alcohol from her medical supplies. "What are you doing?" Alexei asked. Making a distraction, Marina sealed the bottle, shook it. The chemicals mixed, creating a cloudy solution that immediately began producing fumes. "My mom used to say the best weapon is the one nobody expects." The elevator slowed. 22nd floor. 15th. 10th. Marina unscrewed the bottle cap slightly, letting pressure build. The fumes made her eyes water, even through the small opening. Ammonia and degreaser created a thick, choking smoke, not toxic at high doses, but enough to blind and disorient. "When I throw this," Marina said, "run for the maintenance bay. Left side of the garage. The camera doesn't cover it. You've been planning this." "I've been improvising for the last 2 hours. Why stop now?" 5th floor. 3rd.
2nd.
Garage level. The elevator chimed. The doors began to open. Marina hurled the bottle the moment the gap was wide enough. It sailed through the air, spewing chemical smoke like a grenade, and shattered against a concrete pillar 30 feet away. Thick gray smoke erupted, spreading fast across the garage floor. Somewhere in the cloud, a man shouted. Another started coughing violently. "Go!"
Marina yelled.
She and Alexei burst from the elevator, running left into the smoke. Marina's eyes burned immediately, tears streaming down her face, but she kept moving. Alexei was beside her, one hand pressed to his wounded shoulder, the other holding the gun. A figure emerged from the smoke ahead. One of the men, eyes streaming, gun raised blindly. Alexei fired once. The man went down. More shouting now. Footsteps echoing off concrete. The smoke was spreading but also thinning, dispersing too quickly in the garage's ventilation system. Marina spotted the maintenance bay, a service area with tool racks and a hydraulic lift. She pulled Alexei toward it, ducking behind a white van just as bullets sparked off the concrete where they'd been standing. "How many?"
Marina gasped.
"At least 3 more." Alexei leaned against the van, breathing hard. His bandaging was soaked through now, fresh blood running down his chest. The exertion was tearing his wound open again. Marina peered around the van. Through the dissipating smoke, she could see men regrouping near the elevator. 2 of them, maybe 3, hard to tell. They moved with tactical precision, covering each other as they advanced. "We can't fight them," Marina said. "I know. So what do we?" A sharp, piercing alarm cut through the garage. Fire alarm. Sprinklers burst to life overhead, raining water across the entire level. The remaining smoke washed away instantly, leaving them exposed. Marina's heart sank. She hadn't considered that the chemicals might trigger the fire suppression system. But then she saw movement at the garage entrance, security guards in official building uniforms rushing in, attracted by the alarm. Real security, not the men hunting them. The assassins saw them too. One started to raise his weapon, then thought better of it. You couldn't shoot people in front of witnesses and expect to walk away. Police are coming, one of the guards shouted into his radio. We have a fire alarm activation in the garage. Possible chemical spill. The assassins melted back toward the stairwells, disappearing like ghosts. But not before one of them, a lean man with cold eyes, locked his gaze directly on Marina. He pointed 2 fingers at his own eyes, then at her. I see you. I'll remember you. Then he was gone. Marina stood frozen, water pouring down from the sprinklers, the message clear. This wasn't over. We need to move while they're scattered, Alexei said, pulling her toward a row of parked cars. His lockpicking skills weren't necessary. A black Audi sat with its driver's window cracked open slightly, probably left by some executive who'd forgotten. Alexei reached through the gap, unlocked the door, and slid into the driver's seat. Seconds later, the engine roared to life. How did you? Push-button ignition. Half these luxury cars have proximity sensors that can be tricked. He leaned across, opened the passenger door. Get in. Marina jumped in just as police sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. The building security guards were still dealing with a fire alarm, trying to locate the source of the smoke. Alexei put the Audi in gear and drove toward the exit ramp. Not speeding, not drawing attention, just another car leaving the garage. They passed a security guard who waved them through, too focused on the alarm to question an expensive car with 2 people inside. Then they were out, merging into the 3 a.m. Manhattan traffic, the Goldman and Sterling buildings shrinking behind them. Marina watched it disappear in the side mirror, her hands still shaking. She'd worked there for 8 months. It had been boring, exhausting, mind-numbing work. She'd never be able to go back. Where are we going? She asked. Alexei's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Somewhere I can make a phone call. After that, he glanced at her, and for the first time, she saw genuine worry in his ice-blue eyes. After that, we figure out how to keep you alive. The Audi rolled to a stop in front of a narrow brownstone in Queens, wedged between a laundromat and a bodega with a flickering neon sign. Dawn was breaking, painting the sky in shades of gray and pink. Marina had watched the sun rise through her window countless times, usually on her way home from a night shift. This sunrise felt different. Final somehow. Wait here, Alexei said, killing the engine. He'd grown progressively weaker during the drive, his face pale and slick with sweat. The bandaging Marina had applied was completely soaked now, blood seeping through his borrowed jacket. You need help walking, Marina said. I need you to stay invisible. Alexei opened the door, swayed, caught himself against the car frame. These people, they're not like the ones hunting us. But they ask questions. The fewer people who see your face, the better. He stumbled toward the brownstone's basement entrance, descended 3 steps, and knocked in a specific pattern. 3 quick, 2 slow, 1 quick. A moment later, the door opened. A woman in her 60s, gray hair pulled back, medical gloves already on her hands, ushered Alexei inside without a word.
The door closed.
Marina sat alone in the stolen Audi, exhaustion crashing over her like a wave. Her hands were still stained with Alexei's blood. Her scrubs, she'd been wearing scrubs under her cleaning smock, were ruined. She smelled like ammonia and sweat and fear. Her phone buzzed. Text from her roommate again. You're scaring me.
Call me.
Then another from the university. Reminder. Tuition payment due by 5 p.m. today. Late fees apply after deadline. Marina stared at the second message. Tuition. She'd forgotten completely. The payment that had consumed her thoughts for months, the reason she worked 3 jobs, the thing that mattered more than sleep or food or anything else. It seemed absurd now. Meaningless. She'd helped a Mafia boss escape assassination. She was on camera. Men with guns had her face memorized. What did tuition matter when she might not live to see next semester? The brownstone door opened. 2 men emerged, both large, both moving with the controlled violence of people who'd hurt others professionally. They wore black suits and sunglasses despite the early hour. One opened the Audi's rear door while the other scanned the street with practiced efficiency. Ms. Chen, the first one said. Not a question. Please come with us. Marina's heart hammered. I'd rather stay here. Mr. Volkov is being treated. He asked that we ensure your safety. By taking me somewhere I don't know? With people I don't know? Marina's hand moved to the door lock. That's not safety. That's kidnapping. The man's expression didn't change behind his sunglasses. We understand your concern. You're free to leave. But the people looking for Mr. Volkov are also looking for you now. They have resources, facial recognition, contacts in law enforcement, access to databases. If you go home, they'll find you within hours. And if I go with you, we take you somewhere secure. You rest. We discuss options. Marina looked at the brownstone, where Alexei was presumably on an operating table getting the bullet cut out of his shoulder. She thought about running. She could probably make it to the subway, disappear into the morning commuter crowd. But the man was right. She'd seen the way those assassins moved. Professional. Connected. They'd find her. Fine, Marina said. But I'm not your prisoner.
No, ma'am.
You're our guest. They drove in silence to an apartment building in Astoria, upscale but not ostentatious. The kind of place where young professionals lived, people who worked in Manhattan but couldn't afford Manhattan prices. The men led Marina to a third-floor unit, unlocked it, and gestured her inside. The apartment was clean, furnished, clearly unused. A safe house. There's food in the refrigerator, one of the men said. Bathroom is stocked. We'll be outside if you need anything. Outside meaning guarding the door. Outside meaning ensuring your safety, Miss Chen. They left. Marina heard the door lock from the outside. She walked through the apartment slowly, taking inventory. Bedroom with fresh sheets. Kitchen with a full refrigerator, sandwich materials, fruit, bottled water. Bathroom with toiletries still in packaging. Everything she might need for a short stay. Everything except freedom. Marina collapsed on the couch, finally allowing herself to feel the full weight of the last 4 hours. Her hands started shaking. Then her shoulders. Then her whole body was trembling, adrenaline finally crashing, leaving her hollow and terrified. She'd saved a man's life. That should have felt good, heroic even. Instead, she felt trapped. Her phone buzzed again. This time, an unknown number. We need to talk.
Don't respond.
Just listen. Your scholarship is under review due to security concerns. Your bank account has been flagged. Campus police have your photo. You're radioactive. Marina's blood turned cold. Who is this? Someone who wants to help. Go to the window. Look down. She went to the window, pulled back the curtain. On the street below, a black SUV sat at the curb. As she watched, the rear window rolled down slightly. A hand emerged, gave a small wave. Another text, Mr. Volkov wants you protected. My men will keep you safe until this is resolved. Marina typed back, what if I don't want protection? What if I just want my life back? The response came quickly. That life ended when you saved him.
I'm sorry, but we'll make this right.
The SUV's window rolled up. Marina sat on the floor, back against the wall, and finally let herself cry. Not from fear or pain, but from the crushing realization that everything she'd worked for, college, career, future, had evaporated in one night of trying to do the right thing. Outside, the city continued its morning routine, oblivious to the fact that Marina Chen's entire world had just burned to the ground. Marina hadn't slept properly in 3 days. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the man from the parking garage pointing at his face, promising with that gesture that he'd remember her, that he'd find her. The men guarding her apartment, she'd learned their names were Marcus and Tony, had assured her the threat was being managed, whatever that meant. Marina didn't ask for details. She wasn't sure she wanted to know. On the third morning, Marcus knocked on her door. Ms. Chun? The university called. They want to see you. Dean's office, 2 p.m. Marina's stomach dropped.
Why?
They didn't say. But Mr. Volkov thinks you should go. Show them everything's normal. Missing classes only makes you look guilty. Guilty of what? I didn't do anything wrong. Marcus's expression was carefully neutral. That's not how these things work. You were involved. In their eyes, that's enough. So Marina showered, dressed in clean clothes Marcus had somehow acquired in her size, and let them drive her to campus. They dropped her 2 blocks away, close enough to be safe, far enough to avoid being obvious. We'll be watching, Marcus said. Anything feels wrong. You text this number. He handed her a card with a single phone number printed on it. We'll be there in 90 seconds. Marina walked through the campus gates feeling like a ghost. Students rushed past her, complaining about exams and professors, normal problems from a normal world she no longer belonged to. 3 days ago, she'd been one of them. Now she felt ancient, marked, separate. The dean's office was in the administration building, 3rd floor. Marina climbed the stairs slowly, her heart pounding harder with each step. The secretary, a woman named Mrs. Patterson who'd always been kind, looked away when Marina entered. Bad sign. Dean Foster will see you now, Mrs. Patterson said quietly. Dean Catherine Foster was a severe woman in her 50s who ran the nursing program with iron discipline. She sat behind her desk, hands folded, expression unreadable. 2 other people sat in chairs against the wall, a man in a cheap suit who screamed, "Police detective," and a woman with a briefcase marked with a university seal. "Miss Chun," Dean Foster said. "Please sit." Marina sat. "This is Detective Ramirez from the NYPD and Sarah Mills from University Legal Counsel. They have some questions about your activities on the night of November 28th. November 28th. 3 nights ago. The night everything changed." Detective Ramirez leaned forward. He had tired eyes and the demeanor of someone who'd seen too much. "Miss Chun, were you working at the Goldman and Sterling building that night?"
Yes.
"I cleaned there. Nights, 11 to 3-inch. And did you encounter anyone unusual during your shift?" Marina's mind raced. She could lie, say she saw nothing, help no one, just cleaned and left. But they had cameras. They had footage. Lying would only make things worse. "I found an injured man," she said carefully. "He was bleeding. I provided first aid. And then I left when my shift ended." Ramirez pulled out a tablet, turned it to face her. Security footage, grainy but clear enough. Marina kneeling beside Alexei, her hands on his wound. Timestamp, 11:52 p.m. "This man," Ramirez said, "is Alexei Volkov. He's a person of interest in several ongoing investigations. Organized crime, racketeering, conspiracy. And you provided first aid, then just left. He was injured. I helped him. That's what I'm trained to do." "You're trained to call 911, Miss Chen, not to treat gunshot wounds in corporate towers at midnight." The woman from legal counsel spoke up. "Ms. Chen, the university has a responsibility to maintain certain standards. Our nursing program cannot be associated with criminal activity of any kind. It damages our reputation, our accreditation, our—" "I saved a man's life," Marina interrupted, her voice harder than she intended. "That's what nurses do. That's what you're training us to do. We're training you to work within proper medical and legal frameworks," Dean Foster said coldly. "Not to provide aid to fugitives. He was bleeding to death. Was I supposed to let him die? You were supposed to call the authorities." Ramirez held up a hand. "Miss Chen, I need to know. Did Mr. Volkov threaten you? Coerce you? If he forced you to help him, that's a different situation." Marina thought about Alexei's gun, pointed at her face in those first terrifying seconds. Then she thought about him lowering it, trusting her, telling her to run while she still could. "No," she said. "He didn't force me. Then you helped him voluntarily?" "I helped a human being who is dying. If that's a crime, then I guess I'm guilty." The room was silent for a long moment. Detective Ramirez sighed, closed his tablet. "Miss Chun, I'm not going to arrest you. We have no evidence you were involved in Mr. Volkov's business activities. But I am going to warn you, stay away from him. These people are dangerous. Whatever you think you know about him, you don't." Dean Foster opened a folder on her desk. "Miss Chun, your scholarship has been suspended pending a full review. The board feels that your judgment calls into question your fitness for the nursing profession. The words hit like a physical blow. Suspended? For how long? Indefinitely. You may reapply next semester, but given the circumstances, she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Marina stood slowly, her legs unsteady. Is that all? Your tuition payment was due yesterday, the legal counsel added. Since your scholarship is suspended, you'll need to pay out of pocket to maintain enrollment. That's $18,000 for the semester.
$18,000.
Marina had $1,200 in her bank account. I see, Marina said quietly. She walked out of the office, down the stairs, through the campus gates. She made it 2 blocks before she had to stop, lean against a brick wall, and fight the urge to scream. Her phone buzzed. A no number. We heard what happened. Mr. Volkov wants to help. He can pay your tuition, fix the scholarship situation. All you have to do is accept. Marina stared at the message. This was how it started, wasn't it? First they help with tuition. Then with rent. Then with other things. Small favors that became debts. Debts that became chains. She deleted the message without responding. But another text came immediately after, from a different number. You have 48 hours to decide. After that, other people will make the decision for you. Marina looked up and down the street. She didn't see Marcus or Tony. Didn't see the black SUV. She was alone. For the first time in 3 days, she wondered if that was better or worse. Marina returned to her real apartment for the first time since the night at Goldman and Sterling. Marcus had tried to stop her, said it wasn't safe, that she should stay at the safe house, but she'd insisted. She needed her own space, her own things, some semblance of her actual life. The building was a 4-story walk-up in Jackson Heights, the kind of place where neighbors minded their own business and landlords ignored maintenance requests. Marina climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, her keys already in her hand. She stopped. Her apartment door was ajar. Just an inch, but enough. Marina's heart began to race. She pulled out her phone, thumb hovering over Marcus's number, but hesitated. What if it was just her roommate, Sophie? What if she was overreacting, seeing threats everywhere because of paranoia? She pushed the door open slowly. The apartment had been tossed. Couch cushions sliced open, stuffing spilling onto the floor. Kitchen cabinets hanging open, dishes shattered. Her textbooks torn apart, pages scattered like confetti. Someone had been looking for something, and they'd been angry when they didn't find it. Sophie. Marina called out, her voice shaking. No answer. She moved through the apartment, stepping over debris. Sophie's bedroom door was closed. Marina opened it carefully. Empty. But Sophie's suitcase was gone, along with most of her clothes. She'd left in a hurry. There was a note on the bed, written in Sophie's looping handwriting. Marina, I don't know what you're involved in, and I don't want to know. Men came asking about you.
Scary men.
I told them I haven't seen you in days. I'm staying with my parents until this blows over.
Please don't contact me. I'm sorry.
Marina sank onto Sophie's bed, the note trembling in her hands. She'd lost her scholarship, and now she'd lost her roommate, her home. Everything was collapsing. She heard footsteps in the stairwell outside.
Marina Frose, listening.
The footsteps were slow, deliberate, climbing toward the 3rd floor. Not the rushed pace of a resident coming home. Someone taking their time. She moved to her bedroom, grabbed the baseball bat she kept under her bed, protection against the occasional drunk who wandered into the wrong building. Then she positioned herself behind the apartment door, bat raised, heart hammering. The footsteps stopped outside her door. A piece of paper slid under the gap at the bottom. Then the footsteps retreated, descending the stairs quickly now. Marina waited 30 seconds, then lunged for the door, yanked it open. She caught a glimpse of someone rounding the corner to the 2nd floor, a man in a dark jacket, moving fast. She started to chase, then stopped herself. What was she going to do if she caught him? Fight him with a baseball bat. She went back inside, locked the door, and picked up the paper. It was a photograph. Marina, walking across her university campus 2 days ago. Someone had drawn a red circle around her face. On the back, a message in neat block letters.
Marina Chen.
We know where you live. We know where you go to school. We know your mother is buried at Calvary Cemetery, Section 14, Plot 287. You have something we need. Bring Alexei Volkov to the Red Hook warehouses, Pier 9, tomorrow night at midnight.
Come alone.
If you contact police or Volkov's people, your immigration file goes to ICE. Your student visa was fraudulent. Your mother lied on the application. You'll be deported within 48 hours. Marina read it 3 times, each word sinking in like a knife. Her mother's visa application. Marina had been 15 when they'd fled California after her father's death, desperate for a new start. Her mother had claimed they were from Vancouver to avoid complications, a small lie that had allowed them to rebuild their lives. A small lie that could now destroy everything. Marina's hands shook so badly the paper rattled. These people knew everything. Her mother's grave. Her immigration status. They'd been digging, researching, finding every pressure point they could exploit. They wanted her to betray Alexei, to lure him into a trap where they could kill him without witnesses. And if she refused, they'd take away the only thing she had left, her right to stay in the country her mother had died to give her. Marina pulled out her phone, stared at Marcus's number. One call, and Alexei's people would come. They'd protect her, hide her, maybe even deal with whoever sent this threat. But then what? She'd be indebted to a criminal organization, owned by them. Her life would never be her own again. She thought about her mother, sitting in the hospital bed during those final weeks, telling Marina about the anonymous nurse who'd paid for her medications. Sometimes the right thing is the hard thing, baby girl. And sometimes it's the impossible thing.
But you do it anyway.
Marina walked to the kitchen sink, turned on the burner, and held the photograph over the flame. The paper caught quickly, curling and blackening, the red circle around her face dissolving into ash. She wouldn't lure Alexei into a trap. She wouldn't become what these people wanted her to be. But she also couldn't stay here, couldn't endanger the few people she had left. She pulled out her suitcase, the one thing the intruders hadn't destroyed, and began packing. Clothes, toiletries, her mother's letters, the few photographs she owned.
Her phone rang.
Unknown number.
Marina answered.
What? Miss Chen, a voice she didn't recognize, male, calm. I hope you received our message. I burned it. A pause. That was unwise. So is threatening me. You think I'm scared of deportation? My mother died here. This is my home. You can't take that from me. We can take everything from you, Miss Chen. Your home, your freedom, your future. All we're asking for is one meeting. Bring Volkov to us and you walk away clean. Scholarship restored. Immigration file buried. You get your life back. And Alexei gets killed. Mr. Volkov has made many enemies. His death is inevitable. You're simply choosing whether you survive it. Marina's grip tightened on the phone. Who are you? Someone who wants to help you make the smart choice. Then here's my choice. Go to hell. She hung up. For a moment, Marina felt powerful, defiant. Then reality crashed back in. She'd just made herself a target. These people wouldn't stop. They'd escalate, push harder, take away everything until she broke. She needed help. Real help. Marina grabbed her suitcase and left the apartment, not bothering to lock the door behind her. There was nothing left inside worth protecting. In the stairwell, she finally called Marcus. I need to talk to Alexei, she said when he answered. In person.
Now.
The Goldman and Sterling building looked different in daylight. Marina had only ever seen it at night, empty and tomb-like. Now, at noon on a Tuesday, it buzzed with activity. Lawyers in expensive suits, paralegals carrying files, executives talking on phones as they rushed through the lobby. Marcus led her past security with a nod to the guard, who waved them through without question. Money talked. Alexei's money talked louder. They took the elevator to the 65th floor, higher than Marina had ever been. The doors opened to reveal a glass-enclosed rooftop greenhouse she hadn't known existed. Sunlight poured through the transparent ceiling, illuminating rows of exotic plants, small trees, and a meditation garden with a stone fountain. Alexei stood by the western windows, looking out over Manhattan. He wore a black sweater and dark slacks, his left arm in a professional sling. His color was better, no longer death pale, but he moved carefully, protecting his shoulder. He turned when Marina entered. "Thank you for coming." Marcus withdrew, closing the greenhouse door behind him. Marina set down her suitcase. She hadn't slept at the safe house last night, afraid that even there she wasn't secure. Instead, she'd spent the night on a subway, riding the lines until dawn, her baseball bat across her lap. "They came to my apartment," she said without preamble. "Tore it apart. Left me a message. They want me to bring you to Red Hook tomorrow night. If I don't, they'll have me deported." Alexei's jaw tightened. The Italians. They're getting desperate. I don't care who they are. I care that my life is being destroyed because I saved yours. Marina heard her voice rising but couldn't stop it. "I lost my scholarship. My roommate abandoned me. I can't go home, can't go to school, can't have any kind of normal existence. And now they're threatening to take away my right to live in this country." "I know." Alexei moved toward her, wincing slightly. "That's why I asked you to come. I owe you an apology and an explanation." "I don't want explanations. I want my life back." "I can't give you that." His honesty was almost cruel. "What I can give you is a way out. A clean break." He gestured to a small table where an envelope sat. Marina recognized legal documents inside. She could see the official seals through the translucent paper. "Inside is a new identity," Alexei said. "Birth certificate, social security card, passport. All legitimate, backed by real records. You become someone else, someone with no connection to me, to that night, to any of this. I also have a full scholarship to a nursing program at UC San Diego, already arranged. Housing paid, for 3 years. Everything you need to start over." Marina stared at the envelope. "You want me to disappear. I want you to survive. The people hunting me won't stop until they have what they want. If you're gone, truly gone, they'll have no reason to come after you. And you? What happens to you?" Alexei smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I've been in this business since I was 17. My father ran these streets before me, and his father before him. I always knew how it would end. The only question was when." Marina picked up the envelope, felt its weight. Everything she'd worked for, college, career, future, could be hers again. Different city, different name, but the same dream. She could walk away from this nightmare and never look back. "Why'd you do it?" she asked suddenly. "The crime, the violence, all of it. You're smart enough to be anything else. So why this?" Alexei was quiet for a long moment, looking out at the city. "My father used to say, we protect our own. In Brooklyn, in our neighborhood, the police didn't come when you called. The hospitals turned away people without insurance. The landlords evicted families for being a day late on rent. So, we became the protection. We became the insurance. We became the enforcers of a different kind of justice." "That's a pretty story," Marina said. "But I saw men trying to kill you. I saw you shoot someone in a parking garage. That's not protection. That's war." "You're right." Alexei turned to face her fully. "Somewhere along the way, we became the thing we were supposed to protect people from. The business became about money and power instead of community. And men like Victor, men I trusted, they sold out everything our fathers built for a bigger cut." He moved closer, his ice blue eyes intense. "That night you saved me, in the maintenance corridor, you asked why I wouldn't go to a hospital. The truth is every hospital, every clinic, every doctor I knew was compromised. The entire system my father built to protect us had become a cage." He paused. "And then you appeared. Someone who helped for no reason except that it was right. No agenda, no angle, just kindness." Marina felt something shift in her chest. "Don't romanticize this. I'm not some angel. I'm just a girl who watched her mother die and promised to save people when I could. That's exactly my point. Alexei gestured at the envelope.
Take this. Disappear.
Live the life your mother wanted for you. Don't let my war destroy what she died to give you. Marina opened the envelope, looked at the documents inside. Sarah Mitchell, born in Portland, Oregon. Clean history, no complications, no mafia boss bleeding in office buildings. She could be Sarah Mitchell. She could be free. What if I don't take it? She asked. Alexei's expression darkened. Then you stay, and within a week the Italians will grab you. They'll torture you for information about where I'm hiding. When they realize you don't know anything, they'll kill you anyway, just to send me a message. And if I warn you? If I help you prepare for their trap?
Marina.
You'll die, Alexei. The words came out harder than she intended. Victor betrayed you. The Italians want you dead. Your own organization is compromised. You said it yourself. You always knew how this would end. But what if it doesn't have to? What if there's another way? Alexei stared at her. There's no other way. There's always another way. Marina set down the envelope. You want to give me an escape?
Fine.
But first, you're going to let me help you survive. Because if you die tomorrow, those men don't stop hunting me. New identity or not, they'll find me eventually. The only way I'm truly safe is if this war ends. And how do you propose we end a war that's been building for 30 years? Marina thought about her mother, about the impossible choices people made when everything was on the line. We give them what they want, she said. But not the way they expect. The Red Hook train yard was a graveyard of rusted freight cars and broken rails, abandoned by the city decades ago. Now it served as neutral ground, a place where New York's criminal families met when bloodshed needed to pause, if only temporarily. Marina stood beside Alexei in the center of the yard, illuminated by the headlights of 6 cars arranged in a semicircle. 3 families had answered his call: the Italians, the Irish, and a Russian faction that had been circling Alexei's territory like vultures. She wore scrubs and carried a medical bag. Not as Alexei's accomplice. As a medic. This is insane, Marcus had said when Alexei explained the plan. You're walking into an execution. No, Alexei had replied. I'm walking into a negotiation. There's a difference. Victor Reyes stepped out of the Italian car first, flanked by 2 bodyguards. His face showed surprise when he saw Alexei standing upright, alive, shoulder bandaged but functional. The bullet he'd put in Alexei should have been a death sentence. You're harder to kill than I thought, Victor said. Apparently, Alexei's voice was steady cold. But I'm not here to settle scores. I'm here to end them. From the Irish car emerged Declan O'Brien, a gray-haired man in his 60s who controlled the docks. From the Russian car came Yuri Fedorov, younger, ambitious, hungry for territory. You called this meeting Volkov, Yuri said, his accent thick. We came out of curiosity. But we don't negotiate with dead men. Then you're in luck, Alexei said. Because I'm not negotiating.
I'm surrendering.
The word hung in the cold night air. Victor's eyes narrowed. Declan shifted his weight. Even Yuri looked uncertain. Surrendering?
Victor repeated.
To who? To reality. Alexei stepped forward, hands visible, showing he was unarmed. My father built an empire on protection and respect. I inherited that empire and turned it into a war zone. Good people died. Families were destroyed. And for what? Territory we can't even use? Money we can't spend without looking over our shoulders. What's your point? Declan asked. My point is I'm done. I'm dismantling my operations. My businesses, my territory, my holdings, I'm dividing them among the 3 of you. Equal shares. No fighting, no bloodshed. You get what you wanted without losing men. Yuri laughed, a harsh sound. You expect us to believe you'd just give up? This is a trap. It's not a trap, Marina said, her voice cutting through the tension. All eyes turned to her. It's a ceasefire. And you're going to accept it. Victor's lip curled. And who the hell are you? I'm the medic who saved his life. I'm also the reason you're not looking at his corpse right now. Marina set down her medical bag, opened it. Inside were bandages, tourniquets for kits. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to accept Mr. Volkov's surrender. In return, I'm offering my services. Any of your men who get hurt in your various business disputes, you call me. No questions asked. No hospitals, no paper trails, no police involvement. We have our own doctors, Declan said.
Do you?
Because Mr. Volkov had doctors too. Turns out they all report to someone else. How many of your own people can you really trust? Marina looked each man in the eye. I don't care about your politics or your territories. I just care about saving lives. That makes me more reliable than anyone on your payroll. Before anyone could respond, gunfire erupted. It came from behind the Russian car, 3 shots in rapid succession. One of Yuri's bodyguards dropped, clutching his leg. Another grabbed his shoulder, blood spreading across his jacket. Ambush, someone shouted. Chaos exploded. Men dove for cover behind cars. Guns appeared from jackets and waistbands. More shots rang out from somewhere in the darkness between freight cars. Marina didn't think. She ran toward the wounded bodyguard, sliding on her knees beside him. The leg wound was bad, femoral artery grazed, blood pumping with each heartbeat. Don't move, she ordered, ripping open her medical bag. She grabbed a tourniquet, wrapped it high on his thigh, twisted until the bleeding slowed. Another man fell near the Irish car, got shot. Marina looked up, saw the fear in Declan's eyes as he cradled his wounded enforcer. Bring him here.
Marina shouted.
Declan hesitated only a second, then dragged his man toward her. Marina worked on both patients simultaneously, tourniquet on one, pressure dressing on the other. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, the chaos around her fading into background noise. Alexei's voice cut through the gunfire. Cease fire. The command was absolute, backed by decades of authority. The shooting stopped. Alexei stood in the center of the headlights, fully exposed, arms spread. This, he shouted, pointing at Marina kneeling between wounded men from rival families. This is what we've become. We're killing each other's soldiers while a college student tries to save them. Is this the legacy we want? Is this what our fathers built? Marina finished stabilizing the gut shot, moved back to the Russian bodyguard. His bleeding had slowed, but he needed a hospital soon. She looked up at Yuri. Your man has maybe 30 minutes before he bleeds out internally. The tourniquet bought him time, but he needs surgery. Yuri stared at her, then at his wounded soldier, then at Alexei. Something shifted in his expression. Calculation, respect, maybe even shame. You could have run, Yuri said to Marina. When the shooting started, you could have saved yourself. Why didn't you? Because they needed help. Marina stood, her scrubs soaked with blood from 3 different men. And I don't let people die when I can save them.
Not even your people.
Not even his people, she pointed at Victor. Not anyone. The train yard was silent except for the groans of wounded men and the distant sound of sirens. Someone had called 911. Alexei stepped forward. Here's my offer one final time. I dismantle everything. You divide the spoils. And this ends. No more war. No more bodies. We become what our fathers should have been. Protectors instead of predators. Victor looked at the wounded men, at Marina, at the approaching sirens. His face was unreadable. And if we refuse, he asked, then we all die eventually. Alexei said simply. And for what? Declan spoke first. I accept. Yuri nodded slowly. I accept. All eyes turned to Victor. He stared at Alexei for a long moment. The man he'd betrayed, the man he'd tried to kill. You're really walking away? Victor asked. I'm already gone. Victor holstered his gun. Then I accept. The sirens were close now. Men scattered to their cars, engines roaring to life. Marina grabbed her medical bag, but Declan stopped her. You meant what you said? About helping our people? I meant it. He pressed a card into her hand. You call that number, you'll have anything you need. Money, equipment, protection. You saved my man's life tonight. The Irish don't forget debts. The cars dispersed into the night, leaving Marina and Alexei alone in the train yard. In the distance, she could see the wounded men being loaded into vehicles. They'd be dropped at emergency rooms with anonymous calls, a routine that had played out 1,000 times in this city. Alexei touched her shoulder with his good hand. You could have been killed. So could you. Marina looked at the blood on her hands. Russian, Irish, Italian blood, all the same red. Did we just end a war? No, Alexei said quietly. But we bought time. And sometimes that's all you can hope for. Police cars screamed past on the adjacent street, heading toward the yard. Alexei and Marina slipped between freight cars, disappearing into the Brooklyn night like ghosts. Behind them, the train yard sat empty except for shell casings and bloodstains that would be gone by morning. Some things in this city, Marina was learning, never left evidence. They just left scars. 6 months later, Marina walked through the halls of Mount Sinai Hospital wearing navy blue scrubs and a resident badge that read, Marina Chen, Trauma Surgery Resident. The badge felt heavier than it should, like it carried the weight of everything that had come before it. The scholarship had appeared 3 weeks after the train yard. Anonymous benefactor, the letter said. Full ride through medical school and residency, no strings attached. The university had quietly reinstated her, her security investigation closed without explanation. Her immigration file had disappeared from whatever database it had been pulled from, replaced with documentation, so clean it looked like her mother had never lied at all. Marina knew who was responsible. She'd never gotten confirmation, never received a call or message taking credit. But she knew. The trauma bay was controlled chaos when she arrived for her shift. A car accident on the FDR, multiple casualties. Marina scrubbed in beside Dr. Okonkwo, a surgeon who'd taken Marina under her wing despite her unconventional path to residency. 32-year-old male, GSW to the abdomen. A nurse called out as paramedics wheeled in a gurney. BP dropping, possible internal bleeding. Marina's hands moved automatically, cut away clothing, assess the wound, start a line. The patient was pale, sweating, his eyes unfocused with shock. She'd seen that look before, on a 60th floor beside floor-to-ceiling windows. Or 2 is ready, Dr. Okonkwo said. Let's move. They saved him. 3 hours of surgery, 2 units of blood, but they saved him. Marina stripped off her gloves in the scrub room afterward, watching the patient's vitals stabilize on the monitor. Dr. Okonkwo stood beside her, washing her hands. Good work today, Chen. Your field experience shows. Most residents freeze the first time they see that much blood. I've had practice, Marina said quietly. She didn't elaborate. Nobody at Mount Sinai knew about that night 6 months ago. As far as they were concerned, Marina was just another overworked resident trying to survive her surgical rotation. That night, Marina returned to her new apartment, a small studio in Morningside Heights, close to the hospital. It was nothing fancy, but it was hers, paid for by her scholarship stipend. No roommate to lose, no threats sliding under the door. She made tea, sat by the window, and watched the city lights. Somewhere out there, people were making the same choices she'd made that night, helping strangers, taking risks, trying to do the right thing in a world that punished you for it. Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Check your mailbox. Marina's heart skipped. She hadn't heard from Alexei in 6 months. Hadn't seen Marcus or Tony. The black SUVs had stopped appearing. It was like that entire night had been a fever dream, something that happened to someone else. She went downstairs to the building's mailroom. Her box contained a single envelope, no return address, postmarked from Portland, Oregon. Inside was a handwritten note on expensive stationery. Marina, by the time you read this, I'll be someone else somewhere else. The life I knew ended the night you saved it. Turns out you can't dismantle an empire and expect to stick around for the aftermath. Victor took over my territory as agreed. Declan and Yuri divided the rest. The city is quieter now, not peaceful, but quieter. Fewer bodies in the river. Fewer kids growing up without fathers. It's not redemption, but maybe it's something.
I heard you got into Mount Sinai. Trauma surgery.
Your mother would be proud. I know I am, though I have no right to be. You asked me once why I did what I did. I gave you a pretty story about protection and community. The truth is simpler and worse. I did it because it was what I knew. Because walking away seemed impossible. Because men like me don't get second chances. But then you gave me one anyway. I won't contact you again. This life, the clean one, the real one, belongs to you now. You earned it. Not because I paid for a scholarship, but because you were brave enough to help when everyone else would have walked away. Your hands saved more than my life that night. They saved whatever small piece of my soul I had left. Be well, Marina Chin. Save lives. Be the doctor your mother knew you'd become. And if you ever need anything at all, plant a red geranium in your window box. I'll know. Marina read the letter 3 times, then folded it carefully and placed it in the drawer beside her mother's letters. 2 ghosts now, both watching over her from different kinds of distance. She walked to her window, looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, Alexei Volkov had become someone new. Maybe he was teaching at a community college. Maybe he was working construction. Maybe he was running a small business in a town where nobody knew his name. Or maybe that was wishful thinking. Maybe men like Alexei never really escaped. Maybe they just found new cages. Marina made a decision. She went to her closet, pulled out a box she'd brought from her old apartment. Inside was a small pot and a packet of seeds she'd bought months ago on impulse. Red geranium seeds. She placed the pot on her windowsill, filled it with soil, and planted the seeds carefully. Not a signal. Not yet. Just a promise. If you survived, I'll help you stay alive. If you need saving again, I'll be there. Because that's what her mother had taught her. That's what that anonymous nurse had shown her. That's what Marina Chin believed, deep in her bones. You help people, even when it's dangerous, even when it's impossible, even when they're criminals who've made every wrong choice. You help them anyway, because the alternative, walking past someone who's bleeding, pretending you don't see, protecting yourself above all else, that wasn't survival. That was death of a different kind. Marina returned to her window, tea in hand, and watched the city breathe. Tomorrow she'd wake at 5 a.m., return to the hospital, and try to save more lives. She'd fail sometimes. She'd succeed sometimes. But she'd keep trying. And somewhere in this vast, violent, beautiful city, maybe Alexei Volkov was doing the same thing, trying to be better than what he'd been, trying to earn the second chance a cleaning lady had given him on a blood-stained 60th floor. The geranium seeds would take weeks to sprout, months to bloom. Marina had time. She'd learned, through everything, that time was the only thing worth fighting for. Time to heal. Time to grow. Time to become the person you were supposed to be before the world tried to break you. Outside her window, New York City glittered like a promise and a warning. Marina Chin raised her tea in a silent toast, to her mother, to anonymous nurses, to criminals seeking redemption, to everyone who'd ever tried to save a life when it would have been easier to walk away. Then she went to bed, ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. The geranium seeds sat quiet in their pot, holding the potential for something beautiful. Just like Marina. Just like hope. The end.